I make $20,000 a month in personal profits, all from operating what I call digital planes. And I went from working 90 hours a week with low personal profits and constant headaches to now focusing on what I love doing the most, working only with interest-aligned partners, all while having turned my previous revenue figures into personal profit. And in this video, I'll show you how you can do exactly the same by operating your business like a digital airplane and turning that one thing that you love doing the most into one core product with 3 different ways to reach your destination. Because for the best part of the last 3 years, I was operating a digital plane, which on paper looked super impressive. With more than $20,000 a month in monthly revenue, multiple team members, and an overloaded inbox full of inquiries. But in reality, that plane was overweight, inefficient, and super stressful to fly. Because after payroll, ads, partners, and softwares, combined with unnecessary complexity, I was landing only a few $1,000s a month in personal profit. And most importantly, I actually didn't feel like I was adding any significant value anymore. Plus, the repetitive low creativity tasks were only adding to the turbulence I was feeling constantly in my life. So I took a massive risk and did something a lot of people probably wouldn't have done. I decided to ground that plane with one objective: to rebuild and configure my digital plane designed after the life I wanted to live, personally and professionally. Because if there's one thing I've learned through speaking with more than 500 different coaches and consultants, it's that they're all individual human beings. All with their own unique circumstances in life, all with their own desired destinations, with their own requirements for the vehicle or the plane to get them there. You see, my childhood fascination with planes actually really aligns to this. Because in aviation, just like in business, not every business owner wants the exact same experience. You see, some people want a fully crewed plane with crew, autopilot, and systems to ensure that they can sit back and relax, focus on where they're going while everything is being handled for them. And some people want to be in the cockpit themselves, actually flying the plane, but having a co-pilot next to them that can help them share the workload, focus on keeping the plane steady while they focus on the rest. And some people just want the flight manuals to understand how the airplane works, how to build one for themselves, all in their own time and on their own terms. So I applied the exact same philosophy to how we operate in Rooney Digital, and we call it digital planes. Firstly, we have our done-for-you solution. We call it Autopilot. This is for our top 5% of clientele where we manage the plane fully. This means that we handle the execution, we put in the flight plan, and they can focus on creating and leading the space and coaching. Secondly, and what most people choose when I work with them, is Copilot. This is our done-with-you solution. We're in the cockpit together. We help install the systems, we help keep track of the flight plan, all while you handle the majority of the flying, but you have a consultant next to you to make sure you're heading in the right direction. And then, for those who want maximum flexibility, we have the flight manuals themselves. This is for the individuals who want to understand how to design, operate, and fly their own personalized digital planes, all on their own timeline. You see, it's the exact same philosophy and core product, just delivered in 3 different flight modes. And the only real differentiator is how much time and energy I've spent on making sure that each plane gets airborne and flies sustainably. The only real reason that these planes get airborne is because we must emphasize the unique circumstances and desired destination of each individual business. And then we can match it with the right flight mode and provide the individual flight plan. That is digital planes. And if you think of it, that's the opposite of what most agencies and online gurus tell you to do. That you need one offer to one audience with one specific marketing funnel. That's like literally forcing everyone in the market into one specific plane. And that's like saying that for you to fly, you have to fly private. And imagine then how many people would never be able to fly. And that's when I realized that if I could turn one core product of operating digital planes into 3 different flight modes, then I could support any business or individual no matter where they are on their journey. That means more businesses getting airborne, more people reaching their dream destinations, and less wasted investment. A complete win-win. But how do you actually then build a digital plane? Well, let me show you. So at the foundation, all you really need is what I like to call specialized insight. And it's typically found in the crossroad in between what you love doing the most and what you're really good at. You can consistently provide results in it, and you have lived experience in this level of expertise. Now, we need to combine that with your values and standards, the life you want to live on a daily basis, and the rules and non-negotiables you set for yourself every single day. This becomes your engine, the foundation of your core product. This could literally be so many different things: health and fitness, marketing or sales, content, operating organizations, dating, and even changing identities. For example, our core product is building, operating, and flying digital planes to $50,000 a month or above, and making sure that the business owner can focus exactly on what they love doing the most. It doesn't really matter whether me or my team flies the plane, or I'm sitting in the co-pilot, or they're reading the flight manuals and learning how to fly themselves. The plane they operate is always the same plane. The destination they're trying to get to is always the same destination. The only real difference is the level of involvement we have to provide to make sure they're operating their plane correctly. So let me show you exactly how digital plane works and how we operate our digital plane and how we deliver in 3 different flight modes, so you can do the exact same. First, we have autopilot. Autopilot is our complete done-for-you solution, which includes full implementation and operation of your cockpit by myself and my team. This means we monitor the flight deck, we look at recorded and active data to implement the max altitude masterclass. And this is actually only for around the top 5% of clients that we speak with, because it requires profit share and a lengthier engagement, meaning that we got to focus on long-term gains over short-term cash. But we literally take care of everything, and it's for the already airborne established business or digital plane, which also means that we require $12,000 upfront for setup fee and 30% profit share. The engagements last at least 8 months, and we take what already is airborne and bring it to the next level of altitude. It requires a very specific type of client because it needs to benefit both us and them that we take full control of controlling the cockpit, meaning that growth and marketing is fully managed by us as a growth partner, where we take profit from what we're actually generating together. So this is only reserved for the top percent of business. Secondly, we have our co-pilot solution. This is our done-with-you product where we consult and guide the pilot in the cockpit next to us, the business owner, to tweak their airplane and gain more altitude. This means they get access to all our protocols and flight manuals, and we constantly update the flight plan as we go. We have a highly interactive onboarding process and a very strict system towards one-on-one access and accountability calls. Every single month, we have at least 2 one-hour calls, strategy focused, and then accountability calls in between. We also have personal communication channels to ensure that everything outlined on the individual flight plan is followed completely. This type of engagement is very typical for what we do in the agency, as it requires 4-month durations where we constantly are looking at tweaking and gaining more elevation for the individual business owner. Examples of this include some of our partners like Thames, Christian and Nina from Healing United, Tina Brigley, Heidi, Ravi, and of course George, where we come in as an integrated partner and consider their unique circumstances and their desired destination to help support them in the best way possible to get to their destination, while focusing on both the professional side and the personal side of how they like to operate their lives. These engagements always require a 4-month commitment with a ticket of $8,000 US or $2,500 on a monthly basis. So we work alongside the pilot in this case. They still fly the plane, but we help them solve whatever issue is in front of them to gain more altitude and operate a more smooth and calm flight. Then finally, we have the flight manuals. This is our do-it-yourself or self-implementation solution. Here, you get all the protocols and blueprints which we constantly refine from our autopilot and co-piloted clients, including stuff like the takeoff protocol. This is for people who would rather have the ultimate flexibility in being able to decide when and how they design their plane while still having the group support and a medium ticket price point. However, very importantly, we do have an onboarding call even in this solution where we outline your plane configuration to your ideal destination and provide the initial flight plan. From here, you're able to use all our resources to refine and update your flight plan on your own. And this creates the ultimate flexibility for business owners looking to design, operate, and fly their own plane. Pricing for this specific offer is very case by case because it depends on which set of materials and protocols we package for that month or for that quarter. The important thing to mention here is that even the flight manual clients that we handle still get airborne. However, it's at their own schedule, at their own pace, just using proven manuals from our co-pilot and autopilot clients so they know exactly the stuff they're doing is going to get them to the next step the quickest. You see, the key difference here is I can help a ton of more people actually get airborne with their business. Wherever they're at, I can simply help them apply the right flight mode, and I don't have to sell anyone on a simple one-size-fits-all solution. And on top of that, a very important detail here is that I get to show up to all my client engagements with that comforting feeling of knowing that they're on the exact right flight mode for their specific needs and their ideal destination. And that excitement and love for what I do carries over into the progress and results that they see in getting their own digital plane airborne. It's a very underrated fact in business, and you should always have the feeling of actually wanting to show up to your client engagements knowing that they are on the exact right system to get them from A to B. And to top it all off, this way of having one core product and expertise that you provide in 3 different ways comes with a massive upside in terms of a flywheel. Let me explain. Because all I have to do is fly my own plane, and from there, I create flight manuals or SOPs from the takeaways that we get. I implement them in the autopilot clients, our done-for-you system, and then from there, based on the data that we get from our done-for-you clients, I update those manuals again. Now I bring these manuals with me to our Copilot clients, and I can further adjust these manuals based on the feedback I receive from them. From there, I simply take those manuals and protocols with me to consult my Copilot clients, and based on the feedback I get from them, I can adjust them even further. And now I can create the finalized finished flight manuals for the self-implementation clients, the people who just want the manuals themselves. From there, I can turn those manuals into either LinkedIn posts, public masterclasses or webinars, short format content like Instagram Reels, or the YouTube video you're watching right now. You see, this system truly makes me a digital pilot because everything I do on a daily basis either supports my own plane or the planes of my clients. Plus, it turns into original content ideas. So as you can see, first we get an idea from the market on something we want to implement in our own digital plane. Then when we've implemented it, we then analyze it and we bring it to our done-for-you or our autopilot clients. From there, we consult with it with our co-pilots and refine it even further before we turn it into the finalized flight manuals. And then from there, it can turn into many different pieces of content across all different channels. And I know what you're probably thinking at this point. This all sounds way too simple, having manuals, co-pilots, and autopilots, but how do I actually implement for my own business to turn my business into a digital plane? Well, for the remainder of this video, I want to give you 3 very simple steps that you can take with you immediately and implement on to actually start operating your business more like a digital plane that has more structure, more systems, and a calmer flight overall. First and foremost, you got to identify the engine. This is the core product. And there's 3 core questions you can ask yourselves to figure out exactly what that is. First and foremost, what is your core expertise? What's that one thing that you have lived experience with, that one thing that we like to call specialized insight? Secondly, you need to ask yourself, what can you consistently deliver results in? What's that one thing that you have most case studies in, the transformation that you have the most references on, so you can actually prove to the marketplace that your digital plane actually works? Thirdly, you can ask yourself, who can you actually serve? Who are the ideal passengers for your specific digital plane? And when you've answered these 3 very simple questions, you'll be able to figure out exactly the engine that's going to be propelling your digital plane. The core product that you're going to be able to sell in 3 different clear deliverables. Secondly, we got to configure your seats. Exactly in the same way that I operate with the flight manuals, the co-pilot, and the autopilot, you got to operate your digital plane with 3 different clear levels of service. This means, what is your first class? What is your business class? And what is your economy? For me, as you know, our first class is our done-for-you system, which is our autopilot. Our business class is our done with you, which is co-piloting. And finally, our economy is the do-it-yourself system, which is the flight manuals. Let's, for example, take a coaching or consultation business that needs to operate with a first class, business class, and economy. A first class and a coaching business would mean a very high level of one-on-one time with a very, very specific, detailed, tailored strategy for the individual, while a business class level service would be more materials and resources and less one-on-one time. And finally, the economy version of your core product would be simply just the resources and materials that they can go through in their own time without a high degree of one-on-one support. This step ensures that your digital plane is operating with the exact seat configuration that's going to give you the highest lifetime value. Because imagine if a real plane operated with only one level of service. No economy, no business, just first class. Imagine how much of the market you would lose by not providing a second and a third tier to your core product. It's the exact same thing with a digital plane. You got to ensure that you're getting the most out of the market by providing 3 clear tiers of your one core product. And finally, step 3 is finding your specific flight level. And let me break this down in a super clear way by using my own example. My target flight level is operating at $67,000 a month. This simply means that I know exactly the amount of autopilot clients I need, which are 3 doing approximately $50,000 a month, and 6 copilot clients, because the 3 autopilot clients would provide a total of $40,000 a month, while the 6 copilot clients would provide a total of $15,000 a month. And then a certain number of flight manuals will be sold, which will approximately amount to $2,000 to $10,000 a month extra, depending on which specific package we're selling. So that's it. That's how you build your own digital plane to ensure that your life actually is in coherence with the business that you operate. And really, I have never been more fulfilled in the way I operate my business, because I know I can serve everyone at the right place, at the right time, and I don't have to tell them where to fly. I just help them reach their destination with the right flight mode. Because designing the right airplane for you or gaining altitude in your current one should never be chaotic. Now, I've been pretty transparent around how we operate our own digital plane and, of course, the digital planes of our clients, including our numbers, how we charge, etc. So what I don't want to do is send you on to some generic gate-kept information or a sales conversation. But what I will say is that if you are a coach, consultant, or business owner in the info space, and you feel like this kind of resonated, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, and I'll get back to you and we can have a conversation from there. Until then, welcome on board and best of luck.